My name is Jack Crowley, and as a former DEA investigator, I've worked with officers around the country on compliance issues and want to share with you the best practices when dealing with controlled substances in your office. I have been asked by Southern Anesthesia and Surgical to help remove the myths around DEA and state board oversight by educating and informing practitioners and staff to ensure proper compliance and adherence to the laws and regulations. And this would be through sound controlled substances inventory, record keeping and security processes and procedures. Record keeping is the foundation for good patient care and good communications about your practice. DEA record keeping is an integral part of your overall medical record keeping. The DEA, or Drug Enforcement Administration, is charged with the responsibility of monitoring the supply and distribution of all pharmaceutical controlled substances in the United States. Any practitioner who acquires, administers, dispenses, or prescribes controlled substances in the U.S. must be registered with the DEA. The DEA regulatory scheme demands that registrants provide ready accountability for their controlled substances handling. This is really basic accounting. Be prepared. The DEA or state agency can show up at any time unannounced to conduct an inspection. Be safe. SAS has put together the following instructional modules surrounding controlled substances to cover the important details of the introduction to record keeping, ordering, receiving, storage, security and inventory control, administering and dispensing, and disposal to keep the practice safe and in compliance with state and federal regulations in regards to controlled substances. Be aware, regulations can vary from state to state and federally. When there is a question of what is the actual requirement for your particular state, it's best to check with both entities. To be in total compliance, follow the more stringent regulation. The goal of your controlled substances system is to prevent diversion, yet be practical enough that patient care is not adversely affected. The requirement for sound record-keeping system was laid 100 years ago. The Harrison Narcotic Act of 1914 required all practitioners to keep honest records. More recently, our law has become known as the Controlled Substances Act of 1971. The DEA requires that all records relating to controlled substances be kept for a minimum of 2 years. These records must be readily retrievable in the event an agent or inspector arrives at the office. Schedule 2 records must be filed separately. There are different methods of placing orders for Schedule 2 drugs, with the DEA Form 222 by mail, or more recently, electronically after registering in the DEA's Controlled Substance Ordering System program to place orders instantly. After an order is placed and has been delivered, it must be checked for accuracy and documented on the log sheet before placing into storage. Regular inventory checks should take place in the office. The combination of receiving controlled substances correctly and performing regular inventory checks reduces the likelihood of a theft, loss, or diversion at the practice. Whether administering or dispensing, the usage of controlled substances must be recorded in a log as well as in the patient's chart. This is very important so the path of the controlled substance is clearly known. At some point, every office will have controlled substances that need to be wasted or disposed of. There is a distinction. Wasting refers to discarding excess drugs following a procedure. Disposal refers to the process of destruction of expired, unusable, contaminated, or otherwise unwanted controlled substances through a reverse distributor or some other method pre-approved by DEA, and the proper documentation of that activity. To further ensure proper compliance, be sure to assign the right team member to manage this responsibility. The handling of controlled substances is a serious matter. In the following modules, you will be presented with SAS best practices, links to state and federal websites, and a generic or model controlled substance program. Let's get started.